We're never gonna get there if this guy doesn't get the heck out of the way. Oh! What the heck? I'm sorry! Why are you stopping like a maniac? Hey friends, it's Len here from 1A Auto. Today I wanted to talk to you about brake fade, and this is going to have to do with the hydraulic braking system in your automobile. Now, in most passenger vehicles, you're going to have a hydraulic braking system, which means your brake system functions with fluid pressure, partially created by you. Why did I say partially? Well, because of course, just because you step on that brake pedal and you feel like you're pressing kind of hard, that's not necessarily going to be enough pressure getting sent down to the brakes to go ahead and stop the car. It needs to have a little bit of assist generally. And of course, this all starts with you stepping on that brake pedal. After that, the fluid's going to be pressured all the way down the line to the brakes to help slow down the vehicle, causing friction between the brake rotors and of course the brake pads, or depending on if you have shoes and drums in the back. So you know how brakes work? Of course, now we want to talk about what is brake fade. Brake fade essentially is when you feel either a temporary or complete loss of braking power, especially while you're driving in extreme conditions. Stop, stop, stop! Basically, the friction caused by braking is going to cause heat. Repeated, frequent, or sustained braking to the point your brakes don't have enough time to cool before reaching the brake fluid's boiling point. This will cause the fluid to vaporize, and of course, vapor or gas has a much lower compression rating than fluid. Fluid's a little harder to compress than vapor. Something to think about is that different types of brake fluids are going to have different boiling points, or basically points where they're going to vaporize due to the heat. Also, old or contaminated brake fluid is going to have a different boiling point, especially if it's been contaminated with moisture. Now, obviously, if you feel like you've lost the ability to stop quickly, this is something that's a major safety issue. You're going to want to make sure that you get that diagnosed and fixed ASAP. Do not attempt to drive it this way. Now, obviously, we're going to want to start diagnosing and fixing this issue. The first thing that I would do is get under the hood and come right over to my master cylinder. Looking right at the cover, you can tell exactly what type of fluid to use. Some cars will be .3, could be .4, and even in some specialty cars, you might even see .5. The next thing that I would want to do is carefully go ahead and open up this master cylinder and take a peek inside. If it looks like it's dirty or has debris or kind of like a little bit of a film or a cream on the top, you know that it's contaminated. Now, a lot of times when you look inside that master cylinder and you're trying to take a peek at the brake fluid, you're probably not really going to be able to see what's exactly going on. They are a little clear so you can see the level, but to see inside and gauge exactly what's up with that brake fluid, it's going to be a little hard to do. There are testers that you can get that's going to be able to analyze that brake fluid for you. Typically, it's going to go ahead and try to test for acidity inside there and, of course, moisture. Another way that you could possibly test if your brake fluid needs to be changed or flushed is to go ahead and take a peek at your odometer. If it looks like you got 200 and something thousand miles on there and you haven't replaced it in recent memory, well, it's probably overdue. Let's get some more of this as a sample here. Ooh, that fluid's definitely contaminated. This right here is what it's supposed to look like. So keep in mind, if your brake fluid's old, it's contaminated, or maybe has a little bit of moisture inside of it, it probably is going to have a lower boiling point than new brake fluid itself. If you did find that your brake system was contaminated with something, the best thing that you could do is just try to do a brake system flush. When you do it, you want to make sure that you use the proper fluid. Overall, .3 and .4 brake fluid are technically interchangeable, and of course you could add one to the other. Although it doesn't really necessarily make sense because .4 brake fluid's a little bit more expensive and it has a higher temperature rating. If you're just adding it to some .3 fluid, it's really not going to change anything too much. But if you find yourself driving around in circumstances where you're putting a lot of pressure on your braking system, what I would do is take out all the .3 brake fluid in my braking system and of course replace it with .4, which of course would have a higher temperature rating, especially in extreme conditions such as maybe you were towing something, going down a hill, or frequently or aggressively braking. Also, I want you to keep in mind, if for some reason you are replacing the fluid or flushing it out, you want to make sure that you keep that master cylinder full with fresh fluid. If you let it go down too far and it sucks air into your system, you could potentially have issues, especially if you have an ABS unit in your car. No matter what you do though, definitely don't add .5 brake fluid to a system that's supposed to require .3 or .4. 3 and 4, like I said, are interchangeable. .5 is a completely different fluid of its own. .3 and 4 are hygroscopic, which essentially means they're going to be able to absorb moisture. .5 is hydrophobic. It's completely different, and essentially hydrophobic means that it's going to try to repel moisture. The two aren't going to mix. And if you do mix them, well then you might potentially have a major issue with your braking system overall. Now of course you don't only want to focus on the brake fluid itself. Is there a possibility that the fluid itself could have broken down? Maybe you haven't gone very far on the brake fluid. You've only gone 20,000 miles, but you find that you have an issue. There's always a possibility that there could be an issue with the caliper or the braking material itself. If for some reason the caliper isn't functioning properly and it's stuck in the position where it's trying to squeeze the brake pads up against the rotor, you're going to notice that this isn't really going to want to spin very easily. And of course, if that's the case, that means that the pads are grabbing onto this rotor very tightly. Friction causes heat, and of course that increases the possibility that the heat of this area right here is going to surpass the boiling point of the fluid inside the system itself. When that happens, like I said, once it starts to boil, it's going to vaporize, and the vapor itself isn't going to compress at the same rate as the fluid itself. With that said, you're also going to want to make sure you tear apart your brakes, so you inspect the piston on your caliper, make sure it's functioning properly, it presses in easily, and then of course you also have the sliders. If either of these slider pins don't function properly and can't slide, that's what could cause the excessive brake friction. Also, you want to make sure that you inspect your brake flex hoses. You want to go ahead and give them a wiggle. Make sure that it doesn't look like they're dry rotted and cracked in any way. A lot of times what you might also see is a little bubble that starts to form on it. Well, that bubble that I see without any pressure actually gets a lot larger when I go ahead and step on that brake pedal. Also, when you're inspecting your brakes, you want to make sure that you inspect your cooling fins on the center of your rotor right here. If you look inside this area and you can see that your cooling fins are rotted and flaking, of course that's not going to help with the heat dissipation of the rotor, and your brakes could potentially overheat. Now, of course, if you are the type of person that's involved in this type of extreme driving constantly, maybe you do a lot of stop and go, maybe you like to drive down the highway where you get stuck in traffic every once in a while and you have to do excessive braking. The best thing for me personally would be to go ahead and get myself some drilled and slotted rotors. The reason why that is, of course, all these areas right here is going to help with the heat dissipation overall. Okay, so that was a lot of information about something as basic as brake fade. Is it something that's common? No, it's really not that common. Is it something that could potentially happen to your hydraulic braking system? Yes, it is, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. I hope you liked the video. I hope you learned a little something. If you did, you want to talk about it, leave it in the comments section below, because I always love to hear from you. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash on that like button for me. It would mean the world. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell, that way there you can be kept up with all of our latest content. Thanks.